Hi, I'm Maria Michael Zach, and I'm one of the founding members of CCHI. My main objective in being part and becoming a founding member with CCHI was to develop a national certification and qualification process. I have been in multicultural health from the early 1970s and in healthcare interpreting since 1992. I saw there was a deep need for professionalization and standardization for healthcare interpreting, and more specifically, there was a huge need for quality and accurate communication for limited English-speaking patients who were accessing healthcare. I was also the driving force in our state of Oregon for the certification and qualification process for healthcare interpreting, and that process became law in 2001. I also saw that it was important is that being part of the national level would also give us strength and support in our state as we move forward in our certification process. The reason, of course, and the last reason that, of course, was so important to me is around patient safety issues, around positive healthcare outcomes for our limited English-speaking patients, and certainly pinnacle is the professionalization of healthcare interpreting. The essence and the spirit of CCHI, I would say, in one sense, is ensuring healthcare positive outcomes for limited English-speaking patients by credentialing healthcare interpreters using a rigorous and accepted testing method or methods. Very important for the legitimization of the test and the validation of the test is to make sure that these methods are approved and validated, which CCIH did a great job of making sure that would happen. What are the most memorable moments during my tenure, and what was my contribution to CCHI? I would say that my most memorable moments was moving from a discussion to a certification process. I would say that to me was thrilling to see that actually was going to happen after many, many years of discussion. My contribution to this process was to stay loyal to the process and to my colleagues, and supporting my colleagues as we move through some enormously difficult political times. What was the biggest accomplishment of CCHI? The actual certification process. It was no easy task, where the seed of certification was planted and a robust measured process was developed. This process allowed interpreters to finally participate in a process where they could demonstrate and validate their skills, knowledge, and expertise. How would language access in the United States look different if CCHI were not around? I believe that CCHI took the time, the money, and the effort to develop a certification process that followed the lines of the scientific method. CCHI took steps to seek guidance from leaders in the certification process, in the credentialing processes, from different fields, not just in healthcare, but other fields, to get a broad stroke of what that looked like, as well as reaching out to national leaders in the healthcare interpreting field. I believe that if CCHI had not taken key foundational steps for certification, the healthcare interpreting profession would not enjoy the pristine national recognition that it does. I really believe that it was all the great efforts and foundation and the time it took that really has elevated the healthcare interpreter profession. What new issues and topics are ready for CCHI's attention? I would say that it's important for CCHI to be prepared for the change in the healthcare industry, and especially as it relates to federal laws and guidelines. CCHI will need to be prepared to work in a more robust role around immigration, as to ensure that the limited English proficient patients receive not only competent interpreters and interpreter services, but their rights are upheld by OCR. While this advocacy role was not an overt objective in the founding of the organization, I believe it will be needed for the future. Primarily, this role is needed to protect not only immigrants, but also the communities at large. Community health has no boundaries. Diseases have no boundaries. And as such, it is in all of our best interest to be proactive and ensure that communication, health communication, is there for all of our communities. What is your vision for the future for CCHI? As the immigration issue continues to be debated nationally and locally, CCHI will need to connect in new ways with national and local leaders as to ensure that there's a strong advocacy component for competent healthcare interpreting. This education will, of course, include educating leaders of why testing is important and ultimately leading to optimal healthcare outcomes for limited English-speaking patients. We are a nation of immigrants. This will not change. It will continue. It is who we are. So it's imperative that CCHI commissioners and administrators become more nationally vocal to protect, I underscore, to protect the certification process. This will require the mission and goals to be updated as to ensure that the certification process has a strong message that is inclusive of helping our communities who are in need of certified, qualified healthcare interpreters. In closing, I would like to congratulate CCHI for the superior progress that has been done in a decade, in 10 years. Thank you, Natalia, and all the CCHI commissioners who have led the torch for equal access to healthcare and shining the light for all those who come to America for a better life. It is remarkable of what you have done, and history will treat you well. You've done a wonderful, wonderful job. Thank you so much, and good luck. And I'm anxious to see you in another 10 years and see all the great things you've accomplished.